Hey everybody, if you need adventures for dark places and Demogorgons, the 1980s retro role-playing game for old school essentials that I did a video on, which I hope you will check out. I've got 4 adventures here to talk to you about. I'm going to try to do it kind of quick. I will be spoiling these. I will be linking these down below in the description and a pinned comment if you want to check them out in both PDF and print. And they're written by different people. They've got some different layouts. They have got repeat art that you will see from here. And I understand that to some degree. It'd be nice to have all new art for all these books, but sometimes that's just how it goes. But they do look good, and good quality here. And let's go through them. Happy Campers Adventure. So really quick, this one here, I'm just going to kind of do a brief thing through each of them. Happy Campers Adventure is going to be a mixture of Friday the 13th with the Lost Boys. So it's a camp, and there's vampires hunting you down. The Polybius Experiment is going to be all about that legendary video game cabinet that showed up way back when, that became an urban legend. It shows up in Jeffersontown, and it wreaks havoc upon the people there and the kids. And it's up to you to try to figure out what's going on and what's happening in a very investigative adventure. Next is the Enigma of Aldo Bishop. This changes it up by being set in Louisiana. And this is going to be a little bit of a mixture of the Goonies, where you're kind of investigating some stuff, you find a map, but there's also going to be a little bit of some ghost type stuff and a little bit of creepy things happening too. And this is a very interesting one, different obviously than the other ones. And then you're going to need a bigger boat. This is a cool one. It's got a neat monster in it. It's got some stuff going on with obviously the water and the lake there in Jeffersontown. And it's also very good. So let's go ahead, since I got this one on top, let's talk about the Enigma of Aldo Bishop. Like I said, they're going to be kind of just different here, the way that they're laid out. Some of them just look differently inside. There's no like really super cohesive look to all of them, but they get the job done. This is by Levi Combs. I've done videos about his products before. And it's in a swamp-filled small Louisiana town called Red Kitchen. So it's already got its own kind of feel to it that you could work off of if you're running this adventure. Be it with the music you want to play in the background, or just really the vibe, the stuff you describe, maybe a lot of bugs, maybe a lot of kind of, it's real humid down there, things like that. It says you could always, swap it out and put it back in Jeffersontown or anywhere you want to really put it. But it'd be cool to kind of break away from Jeffersontown and get down here in Louisiana to get that feel. Maybe if you're good at doing a kind of a Cajun accent, you can work with that too with some of the NPCs. So it is going to be a little bit, like I said, a little bit Goonies, in which you're going to find a bit of a map. It's going to be a map of the roller skating rink that's in this area of Red Kitchen, Louisiana. This is the St. Tammany Parish area. And it says here that you're going to find a hidden chamber beneath the local roller disco. They'll also find clues that lead them to interact with several notable NPCs and potentially take them to a variety of locations within St. Tammany Parish. After investigating the ruins of an old plantation, they discover a terrible secret within the rustling hulk of a landlocked tugboat that could make them all rich or lead to their doom. And that's exactly what it does. It fills it out quite well. There's some random encounters here that you may come across. Maybe some officers, maybe the local skunkweed man, a couple of really turd type characters you may come across, jocks cruising for the big game, Dirty Dave, a local drifter. So some neat stuff there. There's some rumors about the area. And the name of this guy here, Aldo Bishop, is going to kind of show up every once in a while. That's the name of the thing, the Enigma of Aldo Bishop. So there's a couple locations it tells you about, such as Old Man Bishop's Shack, Mama Shug's, the pawn shop. Maybe you want to go get some stuff there. So some neat things. It'd be cool to have a little map with it. You can always come up with your own, but yeah, it would have been nice. So we do have some blocks here to help you, and you're going to come across this map. It's going to lead you towards something's happening underneath Ace's roller disco that you're going to try to find. So there's a neat thing where you're trying to you go to the roller disco and you try to get underneath it so that you can find out exactly what's going on, where this clue is leading you to, what's down there. And so there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You go to the local library. Maybe you can ask some of the old people that live in the town, or maybe some of your family members that are around that area, if you do have family members, or maybe some friends that are there, if that's where your hometown is. Maybe they know a little bit about Aldo Bishop and this Ace's roller disco, what might be under there. So it tells you how to kind of break into there. You're going to find some stuff. It's going to lead you on. There's going to be a ring there, and some stuff's going to kind of bring you to this lady here, Judy LeBolt. And LeBolt, I guess it is. And I do like the She's Like No Other, and I'm Just Trying to Make You See, Phil Collins, Easy Lover, great song. She's going to try to explain her story, that this guy, Aldo, kind of ruined her and kind of cursed her a little bit. And so you're going to go look for a trinket that he put into her house here. And you're going to it's going to be kind of like the spooky house situation. If you want to do some of these things here to make it a little bit more creepy, that'd be pretty cool. You're trying to find this talisman that's pretty much ruined her, but it's also going to be the ruin of Aldo Bishop later on when you go to the Adelaide, which is his ship, which is a landlocked ship, where you're going to have kind of the final confrontation. He is, in essence, a spirit. He is a kind of a ghost type character. He's a horrid creature, through his dealings with dark forces, as he was a cultist and did a lot of nasty stuff. And so there's a treasure to find, but Judy's going to she's going to double cross you and try to get the treasure that you find, but hopefully she'll be taken in by the cops. So there could be a way to maybe stash some of those coins in your pocket. But overall, it's a neat adventure, very Goonies-like, in which there's treasure, there's maps, and some neat investigative work you're going to have to do. Not a whole bunch of combat in this until the very end, but that's fine. Like I said, you're kids, really, you're teenagers. The Polybius experiment is very open, extremely open. There's a bunch of locations to go check out. And there's this big timeline here. So when the arcade machine shows up in Jeffersontown, it just tells you how it pretty much wrecks everybody. All these kids are going to go see it. People are dying in their sleep. People are going missing. People are starting to see people in black suits with black shades show up in town. There's a creepy plain white van that's following this girl. There's a lot of stuff going on here when it comes to the past history timeline of 10 days ago when it shows up. And so this is a real investigative adventure. You can go and talk to people, what happened, did you see things there, what did you see, whenever they maybe had some sort of medical situation, what was going on when they did it. And more of these kids are going to go, they went and checked out this video game, becoming absent out of school to the point where they had to pretty much cancel school. And there's an investigative reporter who she does an article about what's wrong with the teens of Jeffersontown that kind of spills the beans for everybody. And there's a whole bunch of these white vans that show up in town. There's talk of the FBI and a lot of things like that. So there's a bunch of rumors here, as you can see. I like this, rumors spread by teens and rumors spread by adults. So you get kind of the two different sides of the townsfolk there. So the different locations, of course, the arcade, the high school, Bloat's Gas and Go. That's actually where the arcade cabinet shows up. It does not show up at the arcade. And so everybody leaves his arcade and goes over to this gas station. This lady here, Mrs. Carson, she is, I think she's a vice principal or something like that. She is a cult member. And she's using this time to do some nefarious cult-type stuff in the town. So that's something you might be able to thwart as well, talking to you about the different NPCs, and then investigate when you talk to them, if you're questioned about maybe the cabinet, or you talk to them about missing teens, what they know about it. So again, very investigative adventure here. You could have some good combat with this Mrs. Carson here, and if she gets taken out, then they're probably gonna need a new teacher or vice principal. I can't remember exactly what she is, but she's she's a name. She's assistant. She only works as an assistant principal. That's what she is. But she has got a sadistic pleasure from watching them squirm under the weight of her authority. So they might have some revenge on her. But it is the Men in Black, the FBI, that's doing this. And maybe why are they doing it? Here's a bunch of things here. Got the stats for FBI agents. There's also some of these teens that have gone missing. They turn back up as teen ragers. They've been changed, obviously, and they've lost their mind. They're in a psychotic rage. It's something that might happen to you if you play the game. So there's a way for you to maybe get in there and try to play the game. And of course, you may become obsessed or have night terrors. You may have an addiction to playing it. And how do you end the adventure? Well, you need to destroy that machine. The Polybius cabinet needs to be destroyed, and or you need to burn it down or something like that. But after 30 days, it'll just disappear. And one thing that's interesting is that the whole town just kind of forgets about it over time. And it seems like the player characters are the only ones that really remember everything that exactly happened. So Pretty neat little adventure. It's very open though. A game master's going to have to. You could get this done probably easily in one night's session, and just kind of letting you go around, investigate some stuff. Maybe if you run into this Mrs. Carson and deal with her, maybe you can stop her nefarious dealings. But you could probably do this without any combat. So some people are like that. And then you've got the Happy Campers Adventure. This is going to be a mixture, and you can see it looks a little different. It's got more of a look to the way that the monster book that they put out looked. And it's by James Spahn. This is, when I first saw Happy Campers, I thought, oh, this is going to be like a Friday the 13th type adventure. But it is kind of, it's set in a summer camp type place, but there are Lost Boys type vampires that are going to be hunting down the player characters. So it's going to be able to get you there in some way to the Camp Sunset, which is now kind of known as the old abandoned campground. And so it's got some neat ways to get you there. And then, of course, what's going to happen is you're going to get stuck out there at night. There's no mobile phones or anything. You can't call anybody to help you. And, of course, these vampires are going to be hunting you down. So it's going to explain here like how you're going to, what's happening in the adventure, how to run it, and then the vampire gang. Now, this is the vampire gang that's from the book. So that's neat that if you see them in there and you read their thing, well, here's an adventure that has them and how you can use them in your campaign or your session. I would like to have had their stats redone here in this book, but it's fine. You've got this here. You can put the bookmark on it. But it's always nice to have something that you don't have to always have to go back and reference the main book to. So Xander is, of course, going to be kind of the leader of the group. He's several centuries old. Then you've got the other ones here. When you go to a new location, you're going to roll up and see what vampire's there. There could be no vampire. And what I'll tell you about this is I would keep Xander to the very end. Whenever you roll a 1, just make that be no vampire or put some one of these other ones there. Because when Xander dies, and if you get lucky enough to kill him right off the bat, you never know with some people's rolls, then all the other ones are going to die, and your adventure is pretty much over. So, but then again, you can use Xander as a time thing. So if you know that you're running out of time, you're going over to your buddy's house to play, and time's starting to slip away there, you can go ahead and throw Xander out there and get this thing over with. Or you can kind of stretch it out, obviously, and let him be kind of like a last boss type thing. So a lot of this, the main book is just a bunch of these different locations here, like the administrative offices and the activity hall. And I'd like to have seen a map, but man, drawing up a summer camp map would be very, very easy. But again, it'd be nice to have had something like that in the book. And these are all really well laid out here, what they're all about. And there's no like spooky story you've got to try to find about it. They're just these places that are abandoned and the things inside that you may be able to find to be able to help you. Maybe you can get the electricity back up and running. Maybe there's a couple things that you can find, like a frying pan you can use as a club. So there are some implements you can get, some things you can find that maybe are worth some money. But and then each one of these kind of tells you, hey, if a vampire is here, this is what they're going to be doing. And it kind of look at me, I'm about to kill you type of way. And that's one of the things I really like about this adventure is that you can really ramp up the spookiness of this adventure and this location. A good game master could really work on this one with a mixture of music and how they describe stuff, and maybe keep the vampire element, kind of hidden away until you really want to start getting into combat. And doing things like that. That way you can really make this one a real atmospheric, cool, horror type adventure. So archery range, basketball court, the bathroom and showers. The camper cabins are going to be great. You're going to be able to find some stuff that might actually be able to help you, like a Swiss Army knife or an axe or a hatchet, a Zippo lighter, of course, to help maybe catch these vampires on fire. There's a totem pole that's kind of in the middle with a fire pit. That's pretty interesting. It's got a cool little vibe to it. There's this looping trail that's going to be very, very nasty if you go out there without any type of lighting. And then there's a sublocation. It's this statue cave. And this cave is just pretty much an earthen type cave. And it's going to be pretty much where their lair is. And they could be slumbering there perhaps. You can always make this be kind of like the boss battle location if you wanted to. So that's pretty neat. There's the docks and lakeshore here. And Skull Collector, that vampire likes to hang out there. So then it talks about ending the adventure. Of course, like I said, you just need to kill Xander or wait until dawn shows up so that they won't get you in the daylight. But I think it's a neat adventure. I think I like the scope of what you can do with this in a good game master's hand. You can make this one really creepy until all of a sudden you let it know, hey, look, we're being hunted down by these vampires. You could really play along and try to be kind of cruel and taunt the PCs with these vampires Very neat. And then we've got, you're going to need a bigger boat. Now, this is done by the other Spawn, Mr. Peter's Spawn. I call him Pete. And this one's cool. It involves the Taylor's Lake, which is there in Jeffersontown, and this boy, Billy Teague, who's gone missing, which this book talks about, and exactly what happened to him. I like these sections here that say, like, what the characters know. That way you don't have to be like, well, I don't know if I should tell them that or not. So these are always helpful to see. The boy is missing. 2 of his friends were in a boat. They're all in a boat together at the lake. They were killed, and he is missing. So his father has offered a $10,000 reward for the return of his son. And they think it's the Taylor's Lake Monster, which, of course, everybody thinks about. But that doesn't sound like the Taylor's Lake Monster would do something like that. So it's for 6 characters, 3 to 6 characters of levels 1st through 3rd. It's a mini sandbox, once again, and that makes it easier in these places, especially with Jeffersontown, how it is. So I like these sections here, beginning the adventure and what's really going on. Pretty much what's happened is there are some men that have shown up, and they have the body of a creature, a monster. Well, the water that they have it like in a barrel, I believe, and it's got contaminated water in it. And anything that like water creatures or water animals or something that touch this water, that get infected and contaminated by it, they mutate into a weird creature. And then they're now going around as being kind of monster hunters for hire. So they're creating these creatures, and they are hunting down the monsters the creatures that they create, in essence. There's a Greenpeace activist who's also following them. He's recording them with the contaminated water, and he's going to show up as well. And so it's going to be kind of another investigative type situation. You're looking for this boy, Billy Teague. He's the missing teenager, but he has gotten mutated from that water, from that body, that carcass. He's recently mutated into a ravenous lake monster. His friends are now killed. This guy, Travis Gant, he's the former shark hunter turned monster hunter. And he's hired by Billy's dad to hunt down that Taylor's Lake monster. He's got his 2 sons that it says here are hulking dim-witted. And then you've got Elizabeth Beckham, who is the Greenpeace activist who has been following Travis Gant and trying to sabotage his hunts. And then you've got Mike Donaldson, the Greenpeace activist and friend of Liz Beckman. She followed in, and Shane Gant to Jeffersontown is currently their prisoner. So they have captured him. So it's all this kind of criminals doing criminal stuff, and unfortunately Billy Teague and his friends got in the middle of it, unfortunately. So there's a bunch of different adventure hooks here. Now, one thing that's different about this one, you can see how they're written kind of differently here. So we've got like different hooks to get the characters involved. You got Little Sis, Witch's Bridge, Wrecked Boats, and it tells you about it here. Jenny Teague is Billy Teague's little sister. Your cousin Annie knows her from Mrs. Fambro's English class. Jeannie told Annie she saw Billy last night, but the police said that's not possible. If anyone knows where Billy is, Jenny does. But with Billy missing, her father won't let her sit outside of her house, pretty much. So it's on to y'all to try to figure it out. So one thing that's neat about that is they tell you that, but then it expands on the hooks, and this is really a neat design here that I like. So it's gonna, if you want to go with this hook here with the Little Sis, it's going to tell you all about that, how to, with her, try to break her out pretty much of her house, and get the information that you need from her. Or maybe it's this Witch's Bridge here. So neat little way to kind of give you multiple different ways to kind of get to the end of this adventure, and I think that's pretty clever. Then we've got towards the end, because this one's pretty lengthy, it seems. They've got different, and I like the fact that they are different. They're not all kind of the same in their scope, or how they work, in essence. You can come to this big fight towards the end, where sure enough Billy is going to have to be put down, as he is a terrible monster. It says here the adventures end with the death of Travis Gant and his sons, and the defeat of the lake monster. They should be able to piece enough clues to know that the monster was actually Billy Teague. However, no one in their right mind believes them. And maybe Billy Teague escapes. The 50-gallon drum contaminated the decomposing body of the fish man. That's the creature that they found originally. It leaks into the lake, but after a while, its powers are going to kind of diminish and go away. So, it's a neat little adventure. It's got all your stats down here for like cops and Billy and Elizabeth. So that's pretty helpful as well. But yeah, it seems like a neat little monster thing that you can really work with and try to put down poor Billy Teague, who's turned into a ravenous monster. So there it is. There is 4 cool adventures for Dark Places and Demogorgons. It'd be nice to have all the layouts kind of the same, just as for a uniformity type thing, but you're not exactly sure. I'm not sure exactly when some of these were written and when some things changed here and there. It'd be great to have some all-new art for them, and there is some art that's different, that's grabbed from other sources. I like this cover here and this one. So they do look neat. I like the way they look physically in your hands. I think this is from the, this is not the print-on-demand version. But there are more adventures, so that's neat. They've got a big catalog full of them, and they're not too big, they're not too expensive, but they're all kind of different, and you can see there that they've got a bunch of different type of themes going on with them. So there it is, Happy Camper's Adventure, the Polybius Experiment, the Enigma of Aldo Bishop, and You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat to take on Terrible Billy Teague, who's now a real mess. So there it is. Hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for subscribing. Please like, share this video if you do. Tell people about it. It's a neat game, cool adventures, and I think a lot of these could be done probably in one setting, one session. So, and those are always fun, not some big laborious thing you've got to really work on for weeks and weeks. But sometimes, it's nice to have something that's big, a little bit more meaty. But you could probably stretch some of these out pretty good ways, especially this Enigma of Aldo Bishop and this You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat. But these other two, I think you get through these pretty quick. So there it is. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it.